Healthcare comes under pressure today as the Senate is expected to begin voting within the hour to repeal the law. Meanwhile, a growing list of exemptions being handed out has surpassed 700 employers. Joining me now is Betsy McCaughey, former Lieutenant Governor of New York and the author of the Obama Health Law, What It Says and How to Overturn It, and Michael Cannon, Director of Health Policy Studies for the Cato Institute. Betsy, I'm going to go right to here it is. That's all 2,700 pages of it?
Yes, and this law shreds your constitutional rights. That's one of the two major reasons the Senate should be holding this vote, which will begin any moment.
Talk to us about the vote. What does the vote mean?
Well, the vote means two things. First of all, every member of the United States Senate took an oath to uphold the Constitution. And 2 days ago, Judge Roger Vinson declared this law unconstitutional and null and void.
We'll get to that.
Senators have an obligation to repeal it.
The constitutionality of it, but the vote. Let's stay on the vote.
That's right. Secondly, the Senate should be voting to repeal this because all America deserves a waiver. As you pointed out, the White House has granted 777 waivers to favored companies and unions, but not to the average Joe. So let Congress give them a waiver.
Michael Cannon, I'm going to go to you. 733 waivers. The one that sticks out to me, SEIU has 3 waivers, sir. This is the group. These are the amigos that said that Obamacare was mandatory. They needed it. We all needed it, and now they've gone ahead and asked for 3 of the 703. By the way, unions. 40% of the waivers. 40% of the waivers, yet they represent somewhere around 7% of the workforce.
That's right. You know, they supported the president. The unions support the Democratic Party. They supported this law, and now they're saying higher health care costs for thee, but not for me. And the fact that the administration is giving these unions, or I'm sorry, giving 40% of these waivers to unions, smacks of corruption. It smacks of a deal, and that impression is just, I think, cemented by the fact that the Obama administration hasn't even given any clear guidelines as to how it's making these decisions in the first place.
Well, how are they?
Let me make it really clear.
How are they making them?
Well, no one really knows except favoritism, and it shows that this White House has been hijacked by people who don't share our values and don't value our freedom. In the United States of America, no one should be crawling to the White House for a waiver. Everyone is supposed to be treated equally under the rule of law.
You're with the Cato Institute. Look, I'd want a waiver. If I had a small business, I say, give me a waiver, too. Right. You can't blame them for asking for a waiver, though, right?
In a sense, a federal district court in Florida just gave us all a waiver by declaring Obamacare unconstitutional. And I think that, you know, what's most telling about this is the waivers, the 700-some waivers that we're talking about right now, only pertain to one regulation in Obamacare. Obamacare has regulations A through Z, actually more than that. But here we're talking about 700 waivers just for regulation A. There are more waivers to come. We may see more favoritism.
Betsy,
and something else that's...
I'm sorry, hold on, hang in there, Mr. Cannon. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the Pipe Fitters Union, Operating Engineers. This page has almost half of them. UFCW, Local Amalgamated Welfare Fund.
Unions are clearly very favored. Andy Stern, the head of SEIU, one of the biggest unions in the nation, donated $27 million to Obama's campaign. They're going to rename the Lincoln Bedroom after this man. He goes to the White House so often. But it's just an example of this far more dangerous issue, which is that the White House does not treat people equally under the rule of law. It is corroding our constitutional system and endangering our rights.
Listen, I do the math. I'm following the money here. 7% of the workforce is unionized, so 7% of 700 should be about 50 or so, but there are clearly almost 300 of them. So let's get on to the point you just made. Did the Attorney General in Florida give us all a waiver? Where does that stand? What are the odds of repealing the whole health care Obamacare law?
Well, the odds that Obamacare is going to be wiped from the U.S. code increased this week dramatically when a federal district court in Florida ruled the entire law is void. They found the individual mandate is unconstitutional. They found that if you agreed with the administration's argument about its constitutionality, that would turn the Constitution on its head and give the federal government unlimited power.
Betsy, last word. Last word to Betsy. We're running out of time. I apologize. Go ahead, Betsy.
This case will go through the appeals court with a decision by the U.S. Supreme Court before the presidential election, and with the Constitution on our side, I'm confident freedom will prevail.
We're going to have to leave it there. Would you hire a guy to help fix the economy? that lost more than 20,000 jobs on his watch? Obama would. I'll explain next.